All right, we're about to start here in a moment here. We're just giving people time to get on here. Welcome to another broadcast. And I'm so glad that you guys can join us this Saturday, December the 2nd. We are here in December, y'all. Whoa. How is this even possible? How did we even make it? How did it even... I turn around next thing I know we in December. I was up late and I happened to look at my phone and I see the time and the date and it said December the 2nd. December 1st. I was like, whoa. We're in December already? Because, after the Thanksgiving break, it's like everything, time just speeds up. So right now it's like during the year, you're like like a roller coaster. Then once you get to the top, and the top I would say is like Thanksgiving time frame, because it's like when you're at the Halloween portion, it's like you almost there at the top. Hey Darlene, how you doing, sis? And it's like you're almost at the top, but once you hit Thanksgiving, woo, and afterwards it's like it's a wrap. Then from there it just we're done. The rest of the year is just pretty much a wrap at that point. But anyway, hope you guys have had a wonderful day. Listen, I've been saying over and over again, I said I did not pay for this. What am I talking about? It's been cold jack out here. What I'm talking about, it's like 40 degrees. So it's, at nighttime out here in Arizona, it gets cold, man. I know people that told me, they say, warn me. They said, nah, it gets kind of cold out here. I was like, really? And not that I didn't believe them, but I just took that and just put that in the back shelf, but I didn't know. And so anyway, you may have seen the post that I posted recently, just talking about the many benefits of sleeping outdoors. Of course, that's outdoors, but if you kept reading the post, I also said, listen, depending on where you live and the situation, it may not be safe for you. So at least, when you go to sleep at night, maybe crack the window open. And I think that's a good practice for everybody, not just, in the colder months, but just around the year, because what you have to understand is, during the night when you're in your room and the door is closed, hey everybody, as you guys come in, you're breathing in all of that carbon dioxide, that bad breath and fart. Yes, I said it. You breathing all of that in. It's coming in, or rather it's going out and it's going back in. It's going out and coming back in. It's like you're recycling a portion of that when you when the room is sealed. Your feet stink and everything else. That's where you can just lay it all out. That's right. And for some of you, you probably keep your dirty clothes in the house. So the funk from that is all in there, and it's just recycling, and you sitting up there sleep, just breathing it all in. Well, you don't want to do that. So it's good practice to at least have the window cracked open just a little bit, so you can get that fresh air coming in. And so, you could at least do that. I think everybody can do that. But if you in a situation where you can, from time to time, sleep if you got a back porch or a deck or a backyard, and you're in a community that's relatively safe, it's a fun thing to do from time to time, if you're able to do it. And so I did it, I've been doing it, and it's been definitely a difference. And my wife, I'm like, okay, honey, you ain't supposed to take it that serious. No, I'm being funny because I woke up one night, man, it was cold up in there. I was like, whoa. But yeah, it felt good though. It felt good. And I had to keep them blankets up on me tight though. And so, but there was one night I was in the backyard, sleep, right? Had all my blankets laid out, man. And I should show y'all the thing. You saw the hood. I got it from Costco some time ago. It's like I don't know what you call it, but basically it's like a pullover thingy, and it's almost like a whole coat, like a pullover sweatshirt, but it's thick, and you got a hood on it. It's when I tell you that thing is great to sleep in. That thing is great to sleep in. You hear what I'm saying to you? I mean, when it's cold, right? And so I didn't think I was really gonna get that much use out of it, but I said, well, I'm be sleeping out there. Let me try it. So of course I had it on, and my whole body was warm. I was warm. I mean, I was nice and toasty. I was fine. But my face, that was the only skin real estate that was exposed to the elements. Oh, it made up for all of it. When I tell you, it was like my face felt like I fell asleep, but then I woke up. It was like I almost felt like it was a sheet of ice on my face. I was like, oh shoot. You know, I was like, oh man, it got cold out here. And so I was like, yeah, let me get up back in this house. And so that's what I did. And but yeah, it's but you know, so many health benefits. Mainly, you know, helps your body, you know, build up its immune system. I know for me, I tend to sleep deeper. You know, it's harder for me to get up in the morning, you know, the next day. I'll sleep part of the night outside, and the other part of the night I'll come in the house and go to sleep in the bed. Oh man, it just feel like I'm in a hole or something. I'm trying to pull myself up out of the hole, because it's like, oh man, I just feel like my body's getting almost extra rest. That's the only way I can describe it. So if you are able to do that, I would highly encourage you to do so. You don't have to, you know, you got some people out here that say they go camping and things like that. I mean, if you know, do that by all means if you're able to. But if you aren't the camping type, and you know, or maybe you just like your armchair camper like me, then you could do it at home, you know, backyard, or even worse than that. Maybe you just a full bed camper, you know, and just in your house. Make sure you at least keep that window cracked open, especially during this time of the year where the air is a little bit drier. And for some of you, you may want to also look into getting a humidifier. That's one of the things I need to look into myself, because if you live you know, during this time of the year, this is when the air gets really dry, especially if you have the heat on. And, you know, if you've ever experienced this, I'm sure many of you have, where you get that dry nose. You know, it feels like that one area in your nose gets so dry every time you breathe in, it just hurts. That's happened to me several times. And more than several times actually. And when I tell you, it's like so bad, it gets so bad where I have to put a tissue in my nose and walk around the house with it on, because it just hurts so much. Part of that is because I wasn't drinking enough. I wasn't drinking enough water. So that was part of the reason. But the other part is because of the fact that there's not enough moisture in the air in the house. And when you turn that heat on in your house, it just takes whatever moisture that's in the air, and it just sucks it up. So keep that in mind too, especially if you're, you know, like I said, during this time of the year, where not only are you in a heated home, but you also will go outside and go back into a heated car. So it's almost as everywhere you go, there's, you know, it's little to no moisture in the atmosphere. So you want to make sure you're doing your part to make sure that you're putting enough, you know, there's enough balance in your air that you're breathing around. Let me know in the chat if my audio's okay too, by the way, too, because I had an incident. Sometimes this happens with the audio. It just sounds very crappy. So I don't want people sitting there, because I've had some people say, well, I thought it was just my phone. Well, let's find out together now before I really get started, you know, with this evening. And we're going to get into a couple of stories here that I've been meaning to touch on. And but let me know in the chat here. And while I'm doing that, let me see if I have everything I need. And we'll chat about a couple of things here, and then we're going to get into our main story here. So I'm just waiting to see, you know, hear from anybody. Let me know if the audio's fine. Just throw it in the chat for me, and that way I know that I'm not crazy. All right, someone said good audio. Okay, that's all I need to know. Thank you. Let's see. I'll just this thing. I'll just leave it there, whatever. Okay, so talk about real quick. Okay, so what are the things I want to touch on real quick, and then we're going to get into it. So yeah, people saying good audio. Right on. Thank you so much. We still have this promo going on, I believe, right now. Sombertree.com. Sombertree.com. We still have the promo going on. Save up to 50% at sombertree.com. And here's the breakdown of what this promo is on all the different items. 40% off of in the garden section, 40% off of the tea section, body 25% off, the jewelry up to 70%, and head wraps 50%. Is all complete breakdown there. So yes, that is happening right now. Still, it's not going to happen forever. There will be a cutoff soon, but you just want to make sure you get in and get on that on top of that. Okay. And if you're not familiar with the store, do take the time to go to check it out. Again, the website is sambatree.com. I had someone being funny. They saying, it looked like you were saying Sambo. I was saying, no, we ain't saying Sambo. It's Samba. All right. I put it in the chat for you just in case you don't have the link there, and you can check this out on your own time, because we're not going to spend too much time on this. However, I will talk about something brand new that we just added yesterday. One of the benefits again of just keeping your body exposed to nature. It's a lot of benefits. One of it, I know for me that I've experienced, is rejuvenation in the area of creativity. And as I'm talking, I'm just showing you some of the things here. And then I have a message from our shipping department there I want to share with y'all real quick, because we've been getting it out. We've been getting the orders and been going out this week. I'll just say it now. And they said, if you haven't received your tracking yet, check your emails starting tomorrow for the shipping info. Yeah, there's no delays that I'm aware of. I wasn't told about, but it's going out. So if you haven't received your tracking number, please know that you check your email tomorrow, and you should have that information. It'll give you all the updated information there. Okay. So I'm just kind of going through there. We got a whole section on tinctures. We have the CMOS gel. I took, the person that we're working with on this one, they're awesome. Really good job in putting this together. Just scrolling through some of the many things we have on here. If this is your first time here, we have a whole section on body section, different creams and oils and things like that. You can check all that out. Now, I do want to introduce you to something that I actually posted on a community page yesterday, and this is downloadable phone wallpapers. These are wallpapers that yours truly designed. I put together thanks to AI, right? I didn't sit up here and hand paint these. Let me just keep it a buck, okay? But it's certain things that it's not just give me picture of black children. It's more than that. There are different words and commands and stuff that you need to know in order to get that perfect picture, that image that you're trying to get. And so what I did was, we've already had chalk stock. Well, with chalk stock, we kind of pulled the plug on that one, because I knew that was just going to be a temporary project, because y'all, I just knew. I told my son, I said, this is going to be temporary, because what's going to happen once more and more people get their hands on the AI stuff. It's going to be putting out reinventing all kinds of history. I'm serious. I had this one guy, man, he had everybody. I mean, the blackest of black Indians, and and then another one, the blackest of Sephardic Jews. It's like, oh my goodness. So we stay away from that. If you want that, there's plenty of people, of course, that do that. I just like looking at beauty. I like the beauty of our culture, the beauty of who we are, who we were, and really accentuating the positive. And what you'll see here are different images that, we were able to come up with, and ranging from children at play, like I mentioned that, really bringing and highlighting the innocence of childhood, wanted to do that. I was on Twitter just this week. I'm not going to even bother showing you the video, but Twitter this week, apparently there's some young man who basically is out here, dropping F-bombs. I'm talking about a little boy. and just saying some very horrific stuff. And he's being promoted as a rapper and all this stuff. And oh, let me mention this too. These images, when you see it cut off here, unfortunately, it doesn't. Maybe I can work on that to see if I can get it to where it's a complete picture, because it's the picture itself, the image itself is much larger than this. You're just seeing a chopped off version of it. And the only reason why it's set up like that now is because you know how folk can be, right? They'll see, well, why I gotta pay for it? Let me just let me just take a screenshot of it, and then that's it. So we had to put some things in there to prevent that. But the image itself, each image is already been sized to fit your phone. Okay, so when you download it on your phone, it's it's going to be bigger. It's going to be more content on the image, and then as you're setting up your wallpaper on your phone, you'll be able to move it around and focus on the part that you want to focus on the image. And so what I did was we actually came up with over 70 images, different images, just highlighting, different aspects, of our culture. Some, do contain people in it. Other things are going to contain, it's just very abstract. I love the abstract that we was able to come up with. And, here's just some of it right here. I mean, when I tell you this looks beautiful on a phone, when I put this on my phone, it just, man, I really, really liked it. And then just, we play around with some of the artists that are already out there, and just, and kind of play around with it a little bit in their work, and then combine it. Sometimes we may even combine the works of different artists and see, hey, what is this thing going to generate? And so that's what we do, and we have a lot of fun with it. And but we're able to come up with a lot of great things here, and we just thought it would be a very good idea to to offer these things up as a wallpaper for your phone. And some very beautiful wallpaper. And in each image is 99 cents. So that ain't breaking the bank at all. Take the time, when you get the opportunity, and check some of these images out. And let me see. I'm just showing you some of the ones here. Like I said, we got quite a few abstract ones here. This is one here. It was children playing in Philadelphia. I wanted to emphasize, the city of Philadelphia. That's where I'm from. And and of course, people look at that and say, well, it don't look like that now. Of course it didn't, but there was a time, it was relatively safe, and, children can go out and play and do all this kind of stuff. And then, then I had one, it was harvest time in the mountains, highlighting, our people, on a mountainside, harvesting all kinds of fruits and vegetables and things like that. And once you, like I said, again, once you get it on your phone, it really, really pops. When I'm showing you right now, I'm just going through this really, really quick here. And another part of our history that I really like is the jazz era. So I have quite a few images on here that showcases our people, jazz music, and doing the different instrumentals. I'm working on right now incorporating more of our men in here, men at work, men having fun with their children, that kind of thing. So we'll be adding more and more to this collection as time goes on. And so we're just getting started with this, and we just decided, hey, why not? Let's just go ahead and put it on here, and let's see if the people, if they like it or not. And if not, it's going to stay on here anyway. I mean, why not? Hate to see good artwork just kind of just sit there, but anyway, there you go. So you can find this again. It's on sombertree.com, and all you got to do is go to the more section and just click on where it says phone wallpapers, and that's where you'll find it. Okay. Along with all the other wonderful stuff there. Okay. Let's see. Let's get off of there. Oh, the other thing too. Sorry. I know I told y'all before about this drink here, but bruh, sis, and bruh, this is the drink that we've been carrying, and you guys have been grabbing this thing good, because we're gonna do a live, I think, next week, where we're going to want to have you guys call in and tell us what you think about this, and also the natural detergent that we have as well. People, that has been flying. The Miss Sylvia's natural laundry detergent, that one has been flying as well, y'all. So but this drink here, I usually start my day with it, and my son, he wanted to make sure he get his own stash, so that's what he did. So what I did this morning. I get me some lime, squeeze that lime up in there. Just squeezing in there. Yeah, get all that juice in there. And then this week, or rather next week, what I'll probably do is I'm gonna go outside. I'm gonna have the blender with me, and I'll show you, some fun drinks you can make with this, with this Soursop drink. But this Soursop drink, again, is 100% Soursop. There's no additives. There's no extra sugar added to it or anything like that. I'm gonna tell you right now, that's what convinced us. We said we're gonna have to go with this thing here. So let me just show you right quick. You turn it. So now here's the thing. Now some people say, well, I don't, it has pulp. It's pulp in it. So it's not like this is not a drink that's for thirst quenching. Okay. It's more on the lines of, it tastes wonderful. Number one, but also it's very good. With Soursop, all you got to do, family, is look up online all the benefits of Soursop. And I'm gonna tell you, everything from, the whole cancer thing, I can't get into it too much here because they'll strike me or something for it. If you say, oh, you making claims, whatever. But I'm gonna tell you, there's a lot of medicinal value with Soursop. And for those of you who've been around long enough, I was looking at a review someone did of this drink. It was like a few years old, and they were just talking about, I don't like it. It got chunks of stuff in there, and I don't know, and it's kind of thick a little bit, and I don't know. Now, some people that's their thing. They don't necessarily like a pulpy kind of drink. That's fine, but don't give it thumbs down because of that. I mean, if you don't like I don't like okra. But that's me. I'm not going to say okra is nasty and everyone should stay away from it. But that's what they were doing in their video. I was like, okay, y'all mixing things. Why are you doing a review? Why would I do a review on okra? You know what I'm saying? I don't like okra. But okra does, has a lot of benefits to it too. But Soursop, I think most of us can agree on this thing here. But anyway, I'm going to sit here. Let me just take a quick drink on this real quick, home. You got to take your time with this. Like I said again, when I tell you that drink was an answer to so many prayers, because we were like, okay, now we're moving out here. How are we gonna get our hands on any Soursop at all? So I'm sitting up here trying to combing through different websites, because I said, okay, we're near Mexico, so we gonna have to, because I know they got it down there, so maybe I could figure out how to get, I'm doing all this stuff. And then we came across this, and I was like, oh my goodness. Especially the fact that there's nothing added to it. Someone asked real quick, they were like, well, I couldn't find it on the page. I'll just show it to you right quick. All you got to do is go on the home page, just go under new arrivals, and you'll see it right there. That'll be the quickest way that you can get to it. Okay. Just go to new arrivals, and it's right there. Okay. Don't want to spend too much time on that. But yeah, thank you for asking, and I appreciate it. But hold on. Sorry. I just had to touch it just a little bit more. I had to touch it. I just had to touch it. Anyway, well, welcome, family, to another broadcast, and so glad that you guys can join us tonight in this broadcast here. We're going to look at this whole thing. If you notice on the thumbnail, if you look at it close enough, you got Thanos doing the Thanos snap, and in the background faded, you see a bunch of black people look like they sleep. And that's exactly what we see happening with some of these stories out here and that are coming out, that's been out and has been happening for some time. It's almost as if this system has this power to put black folks to sleep just like that on things that we should really be focused on and really be talking about, and not just talking about it, but doing something about it, to address these issues. So tonight we're going to talk about, was at least 2 stories, but there may be more I may slip in there, but I'm going to talk about the one story we're going to talk about. We're going to revisit that Colorado black rancher's story. Y'all remember that early this year? Now, when you talk about the amount of investments, black folks, we are heavy investors. We may not, and I'm not talking about heavy investors on Wall Street, but we are heavy in the bank, in the economy of emotion. Black folks are billionaires. Let me say that again. In the economy of emotion, black people are we're billionaires in the economy of emotion. We will find the emotion. We will borrow the emotion that we need to find in order to invest it. All someone has to do is say some key words or present to you a certain story or a certain situation. And then all of a sudden now you just pouring out the emotions. Oh my goodness. Just between the regular black folks, right? Just on the street, regular black folks. Then you got the religious ones, who will find every Bible verse that they can put their hands on, and they will invest. They will justify the emotional upheaval and say, this is why we got to be afraid. It's happening. These people are wicked, and it's all been said and foretold in scripture and all that. And people just, woo! I mean, it's just coming up. It's just pumping up, man. So when it comes to emotional investment, we invest a lot, but the returns are always zero. Ain't that something? So we're going to talk about that, this story about, so we're going to revisit this Colorado story, because that Colorado story, black folks invested a lot in that, a whole lot in that story. And it was coming like a tidal wave. And so when it was coming that hard, I was like, whoa, we got to slow this down. Now let's take our time and let's go through this story bit by bit, because there's some things that just ain't quite adding up. Now we always, if you remember, we can go back to the first video that with broadcast we did on that story. We were encouraging people, and off the rip, we were telling people, you need to support this couple, period. No questions asked. If this is what they're claiming, then we need to make sure that we're doing our part to make sure that, they get what they need and all this stuff. I wasn't advocating and telling people to send money, but what they were saying initially was that, they were ranchers, and so they had a lot of meat that they were trying to sell. And, and so I was like, this will be a good opportunity. If you're trying to buy meat or something like that, maybe you can use this as a way of supporting. I'm never, I'm very leery about just blanketly sending money to people, telling people you need to send money here. Here's their cash app to start sending money. I'm very leery about that. So we're going to talk about that story. Then we're going to talk about, mm-hmm. Then there's another story that we're going to touch on. You remember the cheesecake date situation? There was a black woman who refused to go on a date or complete a date because the person that was the gentleman that was accompanying her on his date was going to take her to the Cheesecake Factory, and she turned her nose and said, I don't like that. Now I didn't quite do a follow-up on that story. I posted a video of someone who did do a follow-up on that story. And once again, this was yet another one of those stories that there was a lot of black emotional investment in it and nothing. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to talk about that too. But first, what I want to do is, as you know, Carlton Pearson this week has passed away. And so my hearts definitely go out to the family. I may not necessarily agree with everything that he was saying and putting out there, but nonetheless, I do have minor history with him. When he was first starting out in ministry. This was years ago. Oh my goodness, this is years ago. His ministry launched with Oral Roberts University, which is in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And, so as they white, right? But here you got this black man coming along, and he, that could really sing. And so I think he was one of the Oral Roberts University singers at one point. But then he launched out with his own ministry. It was him and it was two white women that he was traveling with. One name was Helen. The other was, someone had to help me with that because that's going way back. Oh man, it was two white women, but one was Helen, and she spun off and did her own ministry. And the other one, dang, she used to play the organ, but she sounded like Janis Joplin. I remember her sound. This is going like in the, this is like in the early 80s. But anyway, I remember one night, so his whole itinerary, he was going to a lot of these white churches. And so Oral Roberts and his ministry, they were kind of like pushing him out there to the white churches. Like, see, this is a way we can introduce you. See, he's a safe black. So he was going out to a lot of these Assemblies of God churches, a lot of white churches. And so, people are like, oh, he's a safe black. Look at his hair. He has a little afro and he's singing with two white women. Oh, he's a safe black. That's how it was. I'm telling you, I remember. And so anyway, I remember one night there was an altar call, and everybody went up or whatever, and I don't know what the altar call was about, but I remember him standing on stage. I could still go to because the auditorium is still there. I can almost go to the exact spot where I was standing as a child. And I could see him on that stage. And he pointed to me. He said, young man, he said, God's going to use you one day. He said, I'm telling you, he's going to use you one day. I remember that. I'll never forget that. And, but I also remember, the other visits he would, all of a sudden our praise and worship team, when they knew Carlton Pearson was coming in, all of a sudden they start getting black. Then they would call, that would be the time. Now my mom, she could sing, but when they knew that Carlton Pearson was coming in town, but my mom wasn't really part of the praise team of the church. Again, this was like it was a Assemblies of God church, and it was integrated. You had black folks there, but all the ones that was running things were white folks. You know how it was in those days, like that, right? It's kind of like that now. But anyway, so when he was coming in town, they would make sure they would call my mom and say, hey, do you think you want to sing praise and worship with us tonight? Yeah, so they would have her come on up there too, to say, see, we got blacks here too. We got some safe blacks. Oh my goodness. So anyway, where's I going with this? So anyway, so fast forward, he was out there doing this thing, and I remember him doing Azusa Street revival meetings, and some of y'all remember that, old enough to remember those. Those are like conferences, where you had all these different preachers and all that. And the Azusa Street conferences, conventions, I don't know, there's a difference. Those were actually those conventions that he was pushing out there. They were responsible for launching the ministries on a national, or I would say international stage, of two people. Well, it was really more, but two people come to mind, and that's T.D. Jakes, and the other one was Miles Monroe. Miles Monroe, prior to the Azusa Street thing, he was actually teaching the whole purpose, not purpose driven, the purpose of man, and that whole thing about his whole thing when Miles Monroe, when he was talking about the purpose of man, the purpose of the black man, and black folks and our position in the Bible and all that kind of stuff, right? Really like shook a lot of people up, and it was really waking up a lot of black folks. But we had a very interesting seat because we were in a white church. We were in a white church, and you had black folks, and the preacher literally was the pastor was like, don't you get any ideas. I mean, they were getting scared and nervous, about this whole thing Miles Monroe was teaching. So anyway, I don't want to get off on the Miles Monroe thing, but reason why I bring up Miles Monroe is because what's his name? Carlton Pearson was really played a key role in getting someone like Miles Monroe to an international platform. And then same thing with TD Jakes, same thing. TD Jakes, he was already ministering. He had a church at that time, I think his church was in West Virginia. And then once he started getting national attention, then that's when he moved down to Texas, and then the rest is history. But even though later on in Carlton Pearson's ministry, he went into this whole thing of inclusion, it's still very important to remember those historical points, as well. And, these same individuals to much extent, when Carlton Pearson came out and started saying, hey, listen, I'm about this whole thing about inclusion, and inclusion, basically, there was a couple of main points in this whole teaching. Number one is that how can a loving God send anybody to hell? So he started not believing in the existence of a hell, right? So at that time, I was like, oh, no, you already lost me on that one. And then another thing, for me was because Carlton Pearson, in my opinion, he was just a little on the softer side, if you understand what I mean. Just a little bit, just a tinge. Okay. Just a tinge on the softer side. And, and I said, let me watch and see where this thing is going to lead, because if he starts pushing this LGBT stuff, then I know, okay, here we go. And sure enough, that was the case. He started saying, well, hey, God loves everybody. And, LGBT, that's just an expression of who he is and all this, was all that stuff. Then I knew at that point, I was like, oh, he really don't went off on the deep end on that one there. And so when he started talking like that, there was a lot of preachers that backed off of him, and he got thrown under the bus for years. His ministry suffered severely with this. And, and I think it wasn't until years later, Netflix, I think, did a movie, with him taking a stand against the bad, dark, demonic preachers and telling them shame on you for not being inclusive. And I never saw the movie, and I would never will, because I just have no interest in all of that. And, but yeah, as I'm kind of like telling you all this stuff, I'm just going, man, when I tell you church history, like recent church history stuff, like in the last 20, 25 years, there's a whole lot I could share with you, front of the scenes, and to some extent, some things that was going on behind the scenes as well. But like I said, that's not what this is about. But anyway, all that being said, there was a video that came out. It was Larry Reed. He's on here, and I'm sure some of y'all follow him. That's another one it's difficult. It's very difficult. I take as much as I can, I just have something about, y'all see me shaking my head. It's just, I think you know where I'm going with that. It's just, can we have some strong men? I mean, I'm sorry. I'm trying to keep it up. I'm trying to keep it together. You understand what I'm saying? It's like where I look. It's like, anyway. Oh my goodness. So anyway, but you're going to see you see a lot of that in the church world, right? So anyway, so he did a video recently I saw on TikTok, and it's also on YouTube too, where he actually went to go see Carlton Pearson. And Carlton Pearson was pretty much, for the most part, was on his deathbed. And Carlton Pearson, he asked Carlton Pearson, hey, what would you like to see at your funeral, and Carlton Pearson was like, basically, hey, I want that thing to be bad. I want that thing to be big, And he was just saying all this stuff he wants, and then he flipped it and said, well, the thing is that, see, the reason why I want it like this is because, see, the world needs to see that there is a spirit of excellence in the church. Nah, Negro, you just wanted something to be big, right? And so when he said that out of his mouth, I immediately shook my head over Flow Enterprises. I literally shook my head because I knew what that just opened the floodgates of all drama. And I was just like, oh, So yes. So there was a lot of drama apparently that took place there. And I will trust me, I will spare you all the stuff because I couldn't take it. But there was this one video. This is his wife, well, former wife. And I'm going to be, I think I'm trying to find something on here that I can kind of hold on to, because I can only take it, but so much. And his ex-wife got up there and she, shared what she was going to share. And the thing automatically, when I saw the what you call it, the someone put on the title of the video. Dang on it, I sent it to some. Oh, here it is. Oh, the title of the video. There was like her grace. Her grace had these words to say. I was like, her grace. I don't, y'all. Where did this whole her grace or his grace? Where does that come? Wanda, you showing you talking about. I see your message, but anyway, let me see. I sent it. Let me see who I sent. Okay, I know who I sent it to. Hold on. This was a hard one, man. This was a hard one for me to watch. And hold on, here it is. I'm gonna see if I can get through it. I'm gonna see if y'all can get through it with me. But all right, let's see. I'm going to get this up on the screen here.
I am the wife of 26 years to Carlton Pearson and the mother of Prince Julian and Majesty Amor. And I'm the only one in this room that could capture your attention with the untold story of the great husband and father that he is. But we all know, don't we, John DeStito and Brian Keith, that this is not the time for that. Come Monday is a story that will be told in the appropriate time. But today, this moment, I acknowledge him as my greatest teacher. He taught us all some great lessons. One being how to finish what he started. He brought his family back together. And between us, there was much restoration and reconciliation between us, between the four of us, between each of us individually in these last months of his life. The second lesson that he taught us was how to exit this third dimension, how to complete, and how to die fearlessly and with great courage.
I can't. I'm sorry. I can't. I gotta stop. I can't. I gotta turn it off. I cannot. I can't. I'm sorry. I cannot. I can't. I tried, y'all. I really did. I really, really did. I can't. I can't. I really can't. I tried, Lord. I tried. I tried it. And I know it anyway. I tried. I really did. I can't. I saw the title and I already knew. They said, Her Grace, the wife of 26 years, to Carlton Pearson, and discusses expanded consciousness. And I'm sitting up there, I was like, well, didn't she file for divorce? Anyway, I'm not supposed to bring that up, right? We're not supposed to bring that up. Now, Dwayne, come on now. I'm just saying. See, here's the thing. We're masters at it. Now, you got white folks, other people at the funeral, people lie, right? But black folks at our funerals, oh my goodness, we take it up to the beyond the stratosphere in lying at these funerals. Tell me, he was just such a great man. And he taught me some key life lessons when it comes to how to live, how to act, how to breathe, how to move, how to raise, and how to run. He taught me these things. And it's like, wait a minute, I done known y'all for how many years and y'all be cussing, y'all cuss each other. It's like it's an Olympic competition of y'all who gonna cuss each other, who's gonna out cuss one another. I'm not saying that's what happened to them. I'm just saying how we just way overdo stuff. Way overdo stuff. I mean, and I was like, I'm not calling anybody his grace or her grace. That's an end of all conversations to me. That ain't happening. Funeral or not funeral or no funeral. Dwayne, you can't talk ill of the dead. I ain't talking ill of the dead, nothing, but I ain't gonna lie. You understand what I'm saying? See, some people take that saying when it says you can't talk ill of the dead, meaning that you gotta lie. Well, I ain't trying to lie when it comes to people dead or alive. You understand what I'm saying? And I would expect the same thing when people talk about me. Talking about you can't tell. I ain't talking ill nothing. I'm just telling you, y'all, listen. We got to stop trying to out-impress ourselves with this nonsense because, again, going back to Larry Reed, he was talking about some of the nonsense and stuff that was going on behind the scenes. And, and then you had Bloomer, I think George Bloomer, he was one of the people that was speaking. And that I was like, oh, my goodness. And then you had all the preachers lined up, all ready to say something. And I'm sure they were all trying to out-preach one another and all of this stuff. Now, these same dusty Negroes were the same ones that were probably threw him under the bus when he came out with that whole inclusion thing. Then all of a sudden now, they first in line want to get I can't. I cannot. Don't ask me. Don't even. Nope. I'll walk out. I'm sorry. I may be on the front row or whatever. I'll just walk out. I would. If I saw something, if I was exposed, I'll just walk out. I said, I'm sorry. Just let me know when the repast come. I'll meet you over there. I'll just meet you over there. I'm sorry. I just can't do it. I can't. Don't lie. You know what I'm saying? Don't come on. I'm not saying you got to get up there and be like, child, this man here, he was just nothing but I'm not saying you got to do that, but all of that, it's the spirit of the excellent one. All of that, come on, man. So anyway, with all that being said, I saw that and I was just like, gosh, we got to learn to be honest with one another, don't we? And this whole funeral thing, that's one area. But I found there was another video that I came across. Has nothing to do with the funeral. We're going to move past the funeral. I came across another video here. Oh, my goodness. And it was early. See, if you're going to catch me, don't catch me too early. Because it's literally a mixed bag of I don't even know what will be said. I literally don't. I don't know. I don't know what will come out of my mouth. If it's too early and the first thing I'm exposed to is raw foolishness, Oh, I don't know what you're gonna get. I really don't know. That's why it's not good for me to start off my day looking at some stupid on Twitter. That it just, you don't know what you're gonna get. You just don't know. And so anyway, okay, this is this is Creflo Dollar. I gotta play this video, y'all. I got to play this video. Apparently, he recently uploaded this. And I checked, I said, because I saw a screenshot, I was like, they lying. And you know, I said, no. Let me put my investigation hat on. Let me verify that this is what I'm seeing. And so I said, okay, let me find this video. I found it. Let me put the let me put this video on.
I want to pray that any type of deception that's around you, things that are just not real, manipulation, I want to pray about that God will open your eyes. Father, I thank you for your word. You said the Holy Spirit will show us things to come, and the Holy Spirit will lead and guide us. Well, I pray that anybody that's being misled, anybody that's being deceived, anybody that's being manipulated, that the Spirit of God, that you will bring it to their attention, that you will begin to stir into them right now on the inside. And by the Holy Ghost, you will let them see through the lie, see through the manipulation, see through the deception. Thank you, God, that you guide us by your Spirit, and we don't have to be misled. We don't have to fall into the lies of the enemy. And we thank you right now that even though people may think that they are fooling us, that the Holy Spirit is leading us. And I thank you for that right now, for your leadership, your guidance. So open spiritual eyes and spiritual senses so that those who are being misled and lied to, they'll see it, they'll know it, and wherever the peace is, let us follow your peace. We thank you for that right now, that our vision is crystal clear and our hearing is crystal clear. Thank you.
Okay. Hold on now. I'm going to have to go back here. Hold on now. I'm going to have to go back. I'm going to have to go back. Because I want to see if you take note of something that you see right here on the screen. Now, I'm trying to hold it together, y'all. I really am. I'm really trying to hold it together. Seeker, what you talking about? Happy Friday. What time zone you in, sis? I know I get the days mixed up too. But okay, now, Creflo Dollar, as you know, he is faith. I mean, like the faith teacher. He is Kenneth Copeland in blackface. I mean, sounds like him, got the same mannerisms and got all of that down. Faith, he'll just speak it forth and it will come to pass. Speak over your bodies and you will be healed and all that stuff, right? Why this man got a splint on his finger? I mean, if it was that simple, all you got to do is speak over your body and you heal. Well, then why are you walking around with a splint on your finger? Anyway, y'all, but the thing is, it's sad too at the same time, because the fact that this man can get up here and pray like that, pray against the spirit of deception, bruh, you are the spirit of deception. You're a full Decepticon. He's a full Decepticon. Decepticon Baptist Church at the Decepticon Faith Dome in College Park. But man, folk will line up. They will line up for it. They will line up for it. Won't even bother to ask anything. And as we just spotted that out, we just said, you know, wait a minute now, you oftentimes you like quoting that scripture. If you got faith of the size of a mustard seed, you could do. But bro, okay, then speak over your finger. Let's start with that. Let's just start with the basics. Let's start with your finger. Let's just start with that for a second. That just goes over people's head. And when I point that out, the fact that I'm pointing this out, there's some people right now, they're getting mad. Well, Dwayne, now you going too far with that. You going too far with that. It don't, no, see, you can't just call on God like that, on demand like that. See, it takes a special, offering. There you go. Let me finish the sentence for you. It takes a special offering. There you go. That's the key word right there. You got to give. And man. And I see these things amongst our people, and I'm like, my goodness. My goodness. So these are just small examples here. I got another example here. We're going to get to Colorado in just a moment here. We're going to get to Colorado in just a moment. Let me find this. Where's my Twitter thing here? I don't know. The only thing I could think of is that perhaps the 5G has been turned all the way up. That's the only thing I can think of, family. That the 5G must be turned all the way up, because the foolishness that I'm seeing on these streets right now. And y'all know, for some of y'all who ain't aware, we have done many videos in talking about this whole thing about, you got our people who are obsessed with identifying this, cutting off any association with Africa away from them, and 100% saying or claiming that I'm not African at all. I have nothing in my bloodline, nothing at all has to do with Africa at all. I'm 100% Native American. I was always here. My family is always here because my grandmother said that, well, we were always here. This kind of thing. I mean, when I tell you that has been coming up even more, I've been seeing more and more of this coming up. It's like, it's just amazing to watch. It's quite amazing to watch. And, you try to have some kind of conversation with these individuals, just asking some of the most basic of questions. And when they can't answer, typically what happens is you get cussed out, or they'll tell you that then you're just a bot, or you don't, whatever. But I'm just asking like basic questions. And for those of you who have been following us, you know what those basic questions are. We asked, one of the questions I ask is, okay, if you're Native and you don't have any African at all in your bloodline or whatever, okay, that's fine. We can go along with that. Then what I ask people is, okay, can you show us in your bloodline, in your history, show us in your history of any Native practices, indigenous practices that have nothing to do with Africa, nothing at all to do with Africa. What are some of the recipes that your family used to cook that had nothing to do with Africa? What are some of the sayings, the phrases and stuff that you used to use, or you use in your family, that your family is 100% has nothing at all? There's no African linkage to it at all. We did a full breakdown of it. Not only did we do several full breakdowns of this, showing the multiple things that as a people we do say that are African in its origin, but we gave you all the receipts, and we opened the mic up, the phone line several times to have people call in to prove that they're what they say they are. And then one person call, not one person. Because the one thing we don't go with is your grandmother told you research. Because I'm going to show you, this is a video this is what's been one of the things that have been floating around here. And It's right here. Not that one. And this individual, he posted this up here, and it says the elder speaks truth, about who we are. I want you to listen. And it's 3 minutes long. I may play the whole thing, but the reason why, if I cut it off, it's just because it's circular. It's not going anywhere. But I want you to focus on details, y'all. Focus on details, not so much on what's being said. Focus on everything that you're seeing on the screen, okay? So let me go ahead and play this right quick.
Tell that damn lie. Nowhere else.
And my dear, okay then, so we wasn't in slavery like they were saying, was it?
No.
Because Grandma in was in the 1800s, because we can go almost 4 or 5 generations back. So Grandma in was from our land is our land, 900 acres of land, right?
900 acres down there. They called it Blue Fountain Road. They done took that sign down now.
But it's
Blue Fountain Road.
exactly. And our Grandma Hester and our Grandpa Al was Albert, Grandpa Albert. And our names is our name. We didn't get no name from no white people, did we?
No, you know, names no white folk. Who told that lie?
My dear, they teaching that stuff in the history book, talking about we was slavery.
The lie, we wasn't on slavery. Our people wasn't foreparents, was not no slavery. They tell them barefaced lie.
So if you weren't in slavery, you're not in slavery, then that means you were part of the people that was enslaving us, because what history tells us is that the natives that were not being enslaved were the ones that were actually enslaving us. But here's the thing, like I said, it just goes circular, and the one that's doing most of the talking ain't Grandma, it's the woman that's holding the phone. She's doing all the talking. I mean, you want to talk about leading the witness, but the one thing that was so obvious in this video, I just had to laugh. You got individuals out there, they'll swear up and down, we ain't got nothing to do with Africa, nothing at all. Now, I had to comment. I said, well, tell Grandma she got some nice American zebra curtains there. There's some nice American zebra curtains there. I didn't know they had zebras in America. I didn't know that. Maybe they were. I'm sure somebody will come up with something and say, yeah, they were. There was zebras here, but the white man came and killed them all. I'm sure they'll say that. Listen, family, for those of you who follow this platform here, repeatedly and multiple times, I have said over and over and over and over and over and over again. I've said many times, I said that in our lineage as a people, I'm talking about here in the United States, you will find a mixture. You will find cases where our people did in fact mix with the natives of this land. That's not even an argument there. We understand that. We get that. You have natives going as far south as Florida and as far north as up here, that from time, I'm saying up here, like I'm still in New Jersey, but go even in parts out west, you had natives and the natives of this land that were welcoming, if you will, to the Africans that came over as slaves. As they were trying to make their escape, they were actually welcoming us into their tribes, and in many times we were intermingling, and those slaves were, or former slaves, they were actually extended rights, such as certain rights within the tribe, and they were given land and stuff like that. So Grandma ain't too far off on what she's saying, but at the same time, when you look at our own, I did a video on this. I call it genetic memory. I'm calling it that because there are things that we do as a people. It's just it's innate. You just do it. Nobody has to teach you. You just do it. Then there's a lot of things that we do. Like I said, again, I attribute it to like genetic memory. You can't even deny it. It's African in nature. It has nothing to do with the natives of this land at all. Nothing at all. Here's the other video that I was trying to find here. And these folks, I say, man, y'all make this thing so easy. You make it, it's, anyway. Here we go. Here's another grandmother. That's saying that I'm not African. I'm a full-blooded American, right? But you got leopard skin shirt on. I didn't know America had leopards on. I mean, this is the kind of stuff I'm saying. It's y'all make this too easy. Okay, she's a native. I'm American, but you got a leopard print shirt on. Leopards ain't in America, last I checked. My goodness. And then it's this huge thing about it's just you gotta focus on grandma. You understand, one grandma doesn't supersede all the other grandmothers and grandfathers that you had in your bloodline. They just don't. Just because one person is saying it don't mean that it eliminates all that. So, but my point with this broadcast, and then now we're going to make a jump to the main story here, to the main stories, is how our people will allow things like this. Like, you see how I just was able to point those things out, all these different cases here. It's like things that are just so obvious that are in your face. It's almost like this Thanos snap that has put a part of our collective brain, if you will, asleep from even doing even a basic investigation on any of this stuff. And so this is what fuels people like the Creflo Dollars and the, you know, and then the ongoing lies that we like to say to uplift folks because they got a title, and, you know, and then, you know, and now this latest thing that we're everything in the world, but we're not African. Don't you dare accuse me of that. But when you start asking questions just a little bit, all of a sudden people are ready to crucify you upside down and throw you in the grave and then nail you in the grave. You know what I'm saying? And it's just really something. What was I going to say? Where was I going with that? Okay, so now what we're going to do is give me, I guess we'll just transition right on to it. We'll just transition right to it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to, you know, I don't know about you, but I have been really wondering about this whole story regarding the, what you call it, the Mallorys. The Mallorys, that's the husband and wife of the black ranchers in Colorado that there was this whole big thing about they bought a bunch of land out there in Colorado. This was in was that Arapahoe County? I'm trying to remember now. It's been a while since we lived out there. It was in Colorado Springs area. And they bought a bunch of land out there. It was large piece of land, and they were they bought this land because they were going to convert at least part of it to a ranch. And then it was going to be a place for veterans to recover, you know, but they were geared towards like black veterans and all this stuff. So there were some things that were kind of red flags for me that I was like, there's something about this that's off. And if you go back and through our videos, we actually did a whole breakdown, step by step by step. We looked at pretty much everything. One of the things that really stood out to me was, why would someone move all the way out there, and then the first thing you're going to plant in the soil is this big Black Lives Matter flag? Like, to me, that was a dead giveaway right there, because Black Lives Matter, who's really fueling Black Lives Matter ain't black folks, believe it or not. It's white people. It's the white left that's fueling Black Lives Matter. It ain't black people. Let's be clear about that. I know what the mainstream media is telling us, but I have yet to find a black person in 2023 that has come up to me and showed me a membership card and say, I'm a member of Black Lives Matter. I've yet to come across any black person that would admit to that or acknowledge that. I don't know any black people that are part of that at all. I know a lot of white people that will say that, yeah, Black Lives Matter, you know, but not black folks. So it struck me it struck me as very odd that these individuals will move all the way out there to Colorado. I mean, you can't get, and particularly in the Colorado Springs area, I mean, you can't get any more far right than that. And then the first thing you do once you acquire this land, you're going to put a big old Black Lives Matter flag out there. So I was like, this is really interesting. Jennifer Young said, it's a natural thing for us to wear animal prints. It's in us. Yes. But again, if you're claiming not to be of African soil, you're going to wear animal prints of animals that are found here. Do you understand what I'm saying? You're not going to claim up and down you ain't got nothing to do, no connection to Africa, but yet you're wearing you're wearing animal prints that come from Africa. That makes no sense at all. You're not really helping your case with that. So what you're saying is you're correct. I mean, we do, we come from a lineage where we would wear animal prints and things like that, but that's really African. That's not native. You don't see natives of this land doing that. So yeah. So anyway, we did a video. We did several videos on this. We looked at it. So that was the first flag, was the flag, the Black Lives Matter thing. And then it was the videos that were starting to come out. They were coming out on, what happened was there was a story. I'm trying to catch you up to speed. I'm going to show some clips of the broadcast, of some of the broadcasts that we did on this, because they were very thorough. We try to make it as thorough as possible. When this story first came out, another thing that was very odd to me was the fact that this story, okay, so this couple, the Mallorys, they were in the Colorado Springs area, okay? But the story about their predicament, about what was going on, the racism and stuff that they were encountering, it wasn't being talked about or discussed at all in any of the local publications. Not at all. I mean, no bloggers, nobody. But there was this publication all the way from New York. All the way from New York. It was called ARC. ARC, it's called ARC something. It will come to my mind in a little bit. Maybe I'll scrub through the video. Okay, good. Yeah, Jennifer. Yeah, you get my point. Yeah. But yeah, that is in us. But anyway, but this publication, it was called ARC something. But I mentioned it in the video. That's located in New York. And it's a very small publication. They don't really put out a whole lot of stories. But it just so happened they come across this one story that all of a sudden blows up overnight. That was another red flag to me, because I was like, wait a minute, you're telling me let me let you in on y'all on a little secret. Have you ever noticed that a lot of times, when you're watching the mainstream media and they're talking about, the protests are in the street right now, the protesters are taking the street right now. You notice that most of the protests that mainstream media focuses on, most of the time these are protests that take place in New York City. Have you ever wondered why most of the protests that maybe is about the Israel versus Gaza thing, or maybe is about oil, or maybe is about something else? All of these protests tend to take place in New York City. Have you ever wondered why that's the case? Let me tell you why. It's because of the fact New York City is also the headquarters of just about every media outlet in the world. So what these people do a lot of times is that they will pay people to go out there to act like a fool, and we'll just send our cameras out there because it saves us time, it saves us gas, and we can film you, and then we can put it in all our publications. Because I guarantee you, most of the people that's watching me right now, you have never seen any of these protests happening in your neck of the woods. Now, have you? I've never seen, wherever I've lived, I've lived in city, I've lived in with close proximity to cities. I've lived out in the suburbs. I've lived out in the country. I have never, ever seen people taken to the streets and throwing, all that. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but not to the level of what we see on television. Because again, like I said, what these people do is they'll pay folks to act a fool, and right outside of the studios. So all they got to do is stick their cameras out there, take the video, take their little crop photos, post it all over the place, and make you think the whole world feels like this. When in reality, when you and I, when we go into the stores or when we go down the street or we go to the mall or whatever, ain't nobody talking about any of this stuff unless they go online and then people show who they really are. But, you know, when I go into the grocery store, if I go into the bank or whatever, I see homosexuals, I see transvestites or transgender people, whatever the word is. I mean, they don't get in my face. I don't get in theirs. You know, it's whatever. You know what I'm saying? I see guys dressed a certain way. I see women dressed a certain way. I don't say, ain't nothing for me to say. We go about our business. That's everyday life in everyday America. But you notice they always focus on these big cities. They focus on these big cities because that's where the actors and that's where the media outlets are. But anyway, so I found it very strange that this publication, the only publication, was the one that picked up on this story. And it just so happened, like literally overnight, this story became like viral. I mean, it came viral. And, you know, they were out here. It started off with this story about the farmer, or the rancher, the husband. He said, y'all, I'm getting pulled over again. I'm trying to spare y'all I'm going to play some clips. But, you know, if you want to look at the broadcast, I'll have it up. I have them all up. You'll be able to look at them. And, you know, he was talking about how he was being pulled over because he was a black rancher. And these cops have been going after me because they're mad because we bought all this land or whatever. And black folks just completely just went to town on that. Very little information, just a claim. That's it. Now, again, I'm not saying that, you know, when I hear stuff like that, you see the response I gave when I first heard that. I was like, y'all, we need to really pay attention to this because this sounds pretty serious. But I said we need to pay attention to it, but make sure we're getting all the details. And so anyway, but black folk, a lot of our people got in it and we invested so much of our emotion into this thing where it bypassed any sense or duty or responsibility to, let's say, you know what, let's make sure we're getting all the information on this one. Let's make sure we're getting all the information. You know, I want to be here for this brother. I want to be here for this sister, but let's just make sure we're getting all the information. There was hardly any of that in the public square. And so anyway, there were more stories that they were putting out in social media, and their social media was kind of sketchy because there were a lot of things that I was able to get my hands on. It was stuff that was reposted from a repost from a repost. And it wasn't really too much that was coming out. And the videos that they were putting up, it was just them making claims. Like, for example, they would show pictures of dead animals, you know, and of dead animals on their farm or their ranch. And they were saying, these people, see what happened? They killed them. They're poisoning our animals. They came over and what happened was the police said, okay, if that's the case, fine. And it's all on video. They said, not fine, but they said you need to file a police report, but not only file a police report, include in there a toxology report from, you know, someone in town or whatever that shows that there was poison in the body of these animals. I don't think that ever happened. Now, anybody that's familiar with farm life or rancher life or whatever, you know, animals, you know, do die from time to time. I mean, that's kind of a normal thing. We're not, am I saying that they weren't poisoned? No, I'm not saying that at all. I wasn't there. But did they fill out a toxology report? Did they submit it? Well, we don't have that information. And from the last we checked, they didn't. Nothing was submitted. The last I've checked, nothing was submitted. So all our people had to hear again is a claim. Nobody investigated or asked it. We just took it as truth and we ran with it. And so there was a lot of stuff swirling in the air, on the internets. One of the things was this claim from the wife who was saying that a cop came or someone came to her house. She said it was a white man came to her house, peeped in the window, and while she was naked and in the shower. And so she felt threatened. So she grabbed a shotgun and she said she went outside with no clothes on and basically, you know, chased them away. Once again, our people took that as the absolute truth, ran with it, didn't want to ask any questions at all. But then the police released the actual video. And so this is where I think I can pick up with some of the video clips here. Like I said, again, I there's a lot of info on here, and I'm not going to play the whole thing here, but I'll play this one clip here. Okay, let's see. So what you're looking at here, I'll just tell you about it. Like I said, again, you got to, watch the entire video if you want to. This was we uploaded this on February the 15th. Wow, it's been that long. Okay. And this is coming straight from the police department. All right. And so what was happening was they were being served paperwork from the city. And so what has to happen is they have to go to your door and physically give it to you. Now, you get kind of a view right here from this limited video. The ranch is pretty big. And so you got a gate, and then you got to walk quite a ways or even drive quite a ways to get to where their dwelling place is. So it's not like you can just leave it at the gate. You actually have to, when you're being served paperwork from the city, you got to actually make an attempt and knock on the door. So that's what he did. So he, I guess, went around the gate, went through the gate or something like that, and walked up to the door to try to make contact with the residents, right? And so you had people out there saying, well, he was trespassing. That was private property. You can't do. No, he's a representative of the city. This ain't somebody just walking down the street. He's a representative. He was part of city government. So they do have the authority to do that. All he was doing was serving paperwork. That's all he was doing. But she painted this picture as if, this is some peeping Tom or whatever. But so what they're telling you here is that they sped it up, because it was a long walk to get to the door. But let's just play this clip here. I'll turn it down some. There's a lot of wind noise. Yeah, it's pretty much ranchers. I know some people say they're farmers, or I don't know if that's an interchangeable term. I don't know, but I don't know if you can grow anything. I remember those wide open fields out there. But it's they definitely have a lot of they had like quite a few cattle and stuff out there. Anyway, here we go. So he knocked on the house and there was no answer. So now he's going to make his way to the trailer.
Hello? Hello?
So take note, he's not, everything she described as far as him peeking in windows while she was in the shower, we don't see any of that.
Hello, is someone in there?
So he started at the house, knocked. Then he came to this like RV camper, knocked on the door, noticed the distance he's staying away from the door. So now he's just kind of walking around. As you can see, you know, it's a farm, so it's kind of spread out. He's trying to see if he can find anybody.
Freedom Ranch is.
What the fuck are you doing?
Hey!
What the fuck are you doing?
Listen, I have some legal documents.
Get the fuck off my property.
Hey,
Get the fuck off.
I'm
right
leaving.
now.
I'm leaving.
Get the fuck
I'm
out
leaving.
Of here.
I'm leaving.
Get the fuck out of
I'm
here.
leaving.
Get the fuck out of here.
I'm leaving.
Get the fuck out of here. You set that fuck.
I'm leaving. I'm leaving. I swear to God. Relax. I'm leaving.
I heard the gunshot. So what was described as far as you know, what was initially described by her through social media, it didn't exactly happen that way. All right. And so later on, what you're going to see here, like I said, again, there's a ton of video that I can share, but I'm not, like I said, just we'll be here. I might as well just do the whole video again. I'm not going to do that. But if you're interested and you want to watch it, you know, you can watch it yourself. We're hearing her side of it. All right. Her testimony. So let's go ahead and let's listen to what she saying what happened. All right.
Ma'am, how you doing? So I'm Deputy Reed with the El Paso County Sheriff's Office. The reason that we're
El Paso
out
County. I'm sorry, I'll stop it here. There's going to be a lot of wind noise, so it's going to be a little bit difficult, you know, to hear. Let me see if I can get the. Oh, okay. Maybe this will work here. All right.
Because we had a call, there was a weapon involved, and we're trying to investigate to figure out what's going on.
Okay, so I was over here, and I didn't have any clothes on. Watching the door closed and going to work on the computer. And the dog was barking, and I heard, because I have those little thick ears, I heard the breaking, but I thought it was me.
Gotcha.
So when I look out the window, there's a white male there.
Okay.
And I was like afraid. I came outside, and I was like,
recording mounted. Wi-Fi disconnected.
I didn't have clothes on. I put my pants on, but I didn't have a shirt on because I didn't know the person, and the gate is closed. It says no trespassing, but there was someone right outside of my window, so strange things happened. I didn't know if he was trying to rape me. I don't know. So I was like, give me some ID, and he just started running. So my dog started chasing after him, but he was just running and saying, I had some papers to leave here. I said, give me some ID. Why did you trespass on my property?
She didn't say that.
So at the time that you were doing this, what did you have in your hands?
I did have a gun in my hand.
What type of weapon did you have?
It was a shotgun.
Okay.
And I was like, what are you doing? He ran. I asked for ID because everything is locked here. So why were you on the property? I didn't have no shirt. And I was outside without a shirt on, chasing him because I did not know why he was here, but he ran. I couldn't get his ID. So then when I went down there, I saw his car was sitting there, so I was trying to call the police, but I didn't have a signal. I couldn't get his tag number, but I don't know who he was at all. But he was here.
So did he say anything to you?
It happened so fast. I mean, I was in a state of shock slightly because obviously I have no clothes on and someone's looking through the window, and so I'm like, what the hell is going on?
Okay, so what window was he looking through?
Right there on the shed, there's a window right there.
Right, I see that one on this side, on the south side? Okay.
No,
Never
not that
was.
One, this one, all the way over here behind this other building, he was looking through the shed window.
Okay, wait, let me, so I see your van, and there's a fifth wheel, and then
here,
a
if
big...
you look right here, there's like a white part on the top, you see?
Yeah.
And there's a little area there.
Oh, another shed. Okay, I see what you're talking about.
And so he was looking through the window. So obviously, I mean, look at the gate. It says no trespassing. I mean, I'm trying to protect myself, my animals, my property. I did not know. He didn't provide ID. He just started running.
And then what happened when he started running?
He just was running. The dog was chasing after him, and he was running. That was it. And then he got to his car, but obviously I didn't have a shirt on, so I'm walking with the dog. And
That's nothing.
but his car was sitting down here,
Okay.
and I don't know if the call went through when I called 911. But
Gotcha.
it was like a blue.
So at what?
SUV.
So at what point did you discharge the weapon?
It did not. That's why I'm kind of confused. I had it, and I was pointing it like, hey, give me some ID, because I don't know who you are. But that was kind of, and I asked for ID. He didn't provide it. He just started running. My dog was there, but he didn't bite him or anything.
Okay, ma'am, what's your first name?
Okay, so it'll continue to go on here. Just a couple of things on here. Like I'm looking at the comments here. Someone that asked, well, he should have announced himself, when he went on the property. Well, he didn't get the opportunity to announce himself because he was basically greeted with a woman with no shirt on and a shotgun. So there was no opportunity for that. You understand what I'm saying? That's number one. And number two, someone that asked, is it edited? Anything could be edited, quite honestly. But when you look at the entire video that we're left with, clearly in this particular case here, we're listening to a woman who's saying that, A, she did not shoot a gun. She did not discharge a gun. She said, I was just simply asking them to show me some ID. Well, we just heard that didn't happen. You understand? Clearly that didn't happen at all. So there were little things or little pieces in this story, even at this stage of the story, as the truth start coming out, it just was not adding up. Certain things were not adding up. And there was other things too, where there were things that even the police did, to me, in my opinion, didn't really add up. For example, the police, they confiscated, from what I understand, their cameras. They had cameras placed on their property, and the police confiscated their cameras, but they did not take the cameras, from what I understand, the cameras of the neighbors that they were having issues with. And basically what it was is that there's I forgot the real estate term, but basically there's a shared space that both this couple, the Mallorys, had, and then the people next door had. And it was just back and forth. Anytime you have a shared space like that, it's going to be, in a lot of cases, you're going to get some pushback or whatever. Well, this just went to 10, according to what we understand. It just shot all the way to 10. And, there were instances or stories of them waving guns. There's all kinds of stories. Like I said, again, I don't want to relive and go through all of that. That's why we got like 3 or 4 videos that we did on this whole story. And if you want to watch it, you can go through it on your own. And so I'm just pointing out some of the things that was happening. Another thing that stood out to me that struck me as very odd. Now, you heard that she was being questioned by a female cop. Well, that female cop is actually a black woman. And so let's see. So what happened was so it was a black woman. This black woman actually shows up a little bit later on. And this time she shows up with some, was it there? Yeah, it was at the ranch. I'm trying to remember now. Yeah, it was at the ranch, if I remember correctly. And this woman, Miss Mallory, when you hear how she was going off on this black woman and was calling her sellout, she was calling her Uncle Tom, and you trying to break my arm and all this stuff, trying to put these handcuffs on me. And the whole time this black cop, she was talking very calm and saying, listen, I'm trying to help you out here, but you're going to have to work with me on this. And the woman was going off. You hear what I'm saying? She was calling this, like, you had a ton of white cops there, but the black woman, she was really going in and calling her all kinds of very derogatory names. And what was very interesting to me was, now this was at the station, she started it up again. She was just saying in a calmer tone to the black cop, like, yeah, you just nothing but an Uncle Tom sellout and all this other stuff. And then the white cops, female cops, would come to her and they would ask her, hey, can you do this or that? She'd say yes. And she would be very calm. So things like that, when I start seeing stuff like that, I was like, no, this ain't adding up. And for those of you that think I'm making this up, again, I would strongly advise you to watch those broadcasts, because we showed all the content that the video that was uploaded. All of it that was uploaded, we put it all out there so that you could see it as well. It's out here online. A lot of our people that was commenting on this story, however, they were leaving all those things out. See, all of that counts as far as I'm concerned. Another thing that stood out to me was, now this took place in the El Paso County, right? Which is Colorado Springs is in that county. And so quite natural, you had people from all over the country that was like, listen, we need to roll up into El Paso County and we need to make our presence known and we're going to protect you and all this other stuff. And they were just, the Mallorys were like, no, don't come here. Don't come here. We actually have a rally that we're planning in Denver, which is, my Colorado people can help me. That's up to what, the 25? I think that's, if I had to take a guess, I would say about 40 miles away. I would have to say, yeah, I would say at least 40 miles away between Colorado, the distance between Colorado and Denver. If I had to guess, they were telling people, do not come here to Colorado Springs. Instead, we want you to go to Denver. And because in Denver, we're going to stage a protest, because it just so happened that there was a bill that was on the docket, if you will, in Denver or in Colorado that addressed issues specific to this. Like it was some race thing. Let me see if I can find it for you. Hold on for a second here. Let me see if I can pull it up. Let's see. Mallory's Denver bill. Let's see what it. Okay, hold on for a second. Black ranchers. Yeah, it was called the. I mean, no, I'm not disabling my blocker. Okay, here it is. It just so happened that this bill was up on the docket. It was called the Karen Act. And the Karen Act, we'll just get into it. Two black ranchers, okay, they already mentioned it. The ranchers, part of harassment. However, 50 of those calls came from Teresa Clark, the Mallory's neighbor just south of their property. That was the other thing with this story. There was a lot of calls that was being made by the neighbor. It was a white family, and the wife or the woman that lived there, Teresa, it was two women that lived there. It was a younger woman. I think she was taking care of her mother or something like that. But her name was Teresa Clark. And when I tell you she was blowing up their phone, I'm talking about the local El Paso County cops on the Mallorys. She was blowing up their phone, blowing up the cops' phone and saying, you know, these people over here, they're going crazy. They're doing all kinds of stuff, blah, 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 whatever, right? Blowing up their phone. And then, and so what this bill does is specifically designed for people like this Teresa Clark. She would be categorized as a Karen. And it just so happened that all this time, when all of this stuff that was happening, there was a bill that was on the docket. And what they, instead of having people come to El Paso where all this stuff was happening, they were funneling all that power and saying, we need to show up in Denver. I'm getting somewhere with this, family. I am getting somewhere with this. See, because a lot of our people, you think when I tell you, when they say the world is a stage, that is not that's not just a saying. It really is. What is the likelihood that something like this is going to happen? I've already given you some pieces that were already red flags. You're going to move in the middle of Colorado Springs and buy all this acreage, put this huge Black Lives Matter flag up there. Ain't now one black person I know that's rocking with Black Lives Matter. That's number one. Number two, no local news outlet was even covering this story. The only reason why this story even got out in the first place was because of this small, whatever you want to call it. I don't even know if it's a news outlet, but it's this small little blog outlet in New York that all of a sudden start spinning it, put this story out, and literally overnight they put it out, and literally overnight this story becomes viral. It goes viral. What are the chances of all of this? So anyway, let's continue on. So it just so happened that all of a sudden that no, don't come down to El Paso County. We need to go up to Denver because they're trying to pass. We're trying to get this bill passed, the Karen Act. So we need to focus on that. What I'm trying to tell you, family, is that there is a such thing in the political world, and even in the entertainment world. There are things that happen just like this where they will create entire situations just to get the public engaged into it. And then all of a sudden, once they get what they want, it goes away. And that's why we're going to go to here, because I'm sitting up here and I'm like, okay, then what the heck happened since? Because the last thing we hear with this story, this was May the 14th. It literally was like all the news outlets, just like that, at the same time, rolled out the story saying that El Paso County, they dropped the story. They dropped all charges on all sides. The whole thing got dropped because they said, well, we don't have enough info. You just showed the other week, it was like hundreds and hundreds of hours of video of all kinds of stuff that was happening, but you ain't got enough info. Okay. So let me go back here. All right. So in April, a month prior to them deciding to drop all the charges, we get this. It says feuding El Paso County neighbors agree to mediation, but not all appear pleased. And I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'll just read part of it here. It says, in a Monday hearing, the El Paso County Courthouse, Teresa Clark, that's the neighbors again, who have been involved in a series of legal disputes with ranchers Courtney and Nicole Mallory, agreed to attempt to resolve the dispute through mediation. Clark appeared before the county Judge Meredith Patrick Cord for a pretrial readiness conference in connection with her September arrest for allegedly violating a restraining order that required her to stay at least 100 yards from the Mallory's property. She had been scheduled to stand trial on Tuesday. Last Thursday, Nicole and Courtney Mallory expressed willingness to mediate when they appeared in the court to address felony charges of stalking, for which they were arrested in November and February, respectively. Clark is named as the stalking victim in the arrest documents. Now, here's the thing. Now, here's what's been missing. See, these are the pieces that a lot of folks were missing, because what was being reported at that time was they weren't trying to sit down with anybody. I'm talking about the Mallorys. Do you remember? We talked about all of this, every receipt that I'm telling you right now. Just because I'm not showing you, it doesn't mean it's not there. It's in the videos. I'm just not going to go through all of that for the sake of my time and your time. But the the El Paso County proposed, they said, we're going to find a place that's neutral for everybody. And we're going to see if we can sit down with everybody to try to work this out. So they were going to have, it was going to be El Paso County, the police, the government, right? They were going to have the Mallorys, and then they was going to have this Teresa Clark. They was going to have them all meet they said, the county even said, listen, y'all can decide where you want to meet. We don't care. We just want to get this resolved and keep it moving. And the Mallorys were very boisterous at that time, at least what was being reported, and saying that we ain't meet with nobody. We ain't doing nothing. So that's what we was hearing all that time. We were hearing that the Mallorys were refusing to meet with anybody. But now all of a sudden this article pops up in April saying that Well, they actually were mediating. Now, isn't that something? Why is that? Now, all of a sudden that came up. And then weeks later, or not weeks later, but in the following month, which was May, now all of a sudden we hear all the charges were dropped on all, everything was dropped out. There's no criminal, not all of it was gone. Now, here's where it gets even more interesting for me. That's why I said, I actually, for me, all of this, I'm ending up with more questions than answers. I wish I had more answers, but I don't. So anyway, let me close that out. Hold on, where is that? Okay, here we go. So anyway, what I did was I went to, I was trying to find their, I was like, what page was that because this was their page that I was, because anytime they would post a video, I was immediately pushing it out to our followers and saying, listen, this is the latest, immediately pushing it out and saying, this is what they're saying. Here's what they're saying. This is their updates. You're not getting it. It's not from me. It's coming straight from them. Here is their address. You can go to it yourself. We were telling people you need to subscribe so you can get all the information and all that stuff, right? So we did all of that. So we pushed that out there. And so I'm sitting up here like, okay, let me go to their Instagram now, because Instagram was what they were using to inform the public of all of these horrors that were supposedly going on. Oh, I didn't even get into someone was killed they found someone dead on the ranch. That's a whole nother story. And they never got to the bottom of that. Yes, there was a dead body found on the ranch. It was one of their ranch hands. Yeah. That's a whole nother chapter that has just dropped off, and it's this big mystery. So they found a dead body on there. What does that got to do with this whole story? Who knows? But nobody's talking about that. Anyway, so I went to their Instagram because I said, let me go to this page here, because what they were, the whole drive to get this land, from what I understand, from what they were communicating, it was the name of this thing was called Freedom Acres Veterans Program, right? It's part of this veterans program where basically it's like a gun club, and also it's also for Black veterans to, who may be experiencing homelessness. They said, if you can get out here, you can get a place to stay, but you can also get a job, working as a ranch hand, taking care of animals and things like that. But, we want this to be a place of refuge for Black veterans and all that. Sounds noble. Sounds like a good thing, right? And so this is the website here. And then if you're interested, you can fill out all the details and all the information, right? And so then I said, well, let me go to their Instagram, because I want to see what they're saying on their Instagram here. Let me go back here. So this is still their GoFundMe, which appears to be still very active. Black Colorado farmer terrorized, and and they go in and talk about all the terrors and stuff that they said that they experienced and what's going on and all this stuff right here. And, they just go through all of this, right? They didn't even make the correction about I think someone peeking in their window or whatever. So people still, as of 20 days ago, still sending them money. Okay. So anyway, let me get to their Instagram page. Let me go there real quick. So I go to their Instagram page. I said, let me get the extra. So again, this was supposedly, from what I understand, it's part of a much bigger picture where this is land that they purchased in order to be a help for veterans, and to, build some kind of organization or something like that that's going to be a help for the people in the community and all this other stuff, right? And so, but I go to their Instagram page, which is this right here. This is their Instagram page. The last time they posted something to their Instagram page is the date. Let me see if the date is on here. It was 29 weeks ago, which was, I think I think on my phone it shows me, and that was back in May. It was May the 12th, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But since then, nothing else has been posted. Nothing. Nothing else has really been posted here. Nothing. So this thing really looks like this was tied to that bill. It was a whole thing that I believe that was really about trying to get, it was an elaborate thing to try to get this Karen Act passed. Because if you listen to the people behind the Karen Act, their goal was to make this Karen Act a national legislation. Colorado was going to be one of the main states that was going to really be the big push to get this more as a part of a national conversation. This wasn't just some small thing, this Karen Act. It was a major thing. And it just so happened that all of a sudden this story pops up. And now that, the case has been miraculously dropped, we don't hear a doggone thing from either side. And all of a sudden their social media has gone completely quiet. Completely quiet. So what do we know besides this? I don't know. I can't tell you. But what I can tell you is this, is that what I know is that there are a lot of things like this. And this is probably the most important part of this broadcast. And then family, I'm done. Okay. I try to make this stuff as short as possible, but I got to go through details so that people can get as much information as possible. So you really understand this whole thing here and how you are literally being lulled to sleep. So here you got this entire elaborate story that Negroes from sea to shining sea had invested all of this emotionalism about. And it's almost as if Thanos himself just snapped his fingers and said, okay, niggas, basically go to sleep. And as soon as that happens, literally nobody's talking about this. How in the world do we go from these people are being so terrorized, and it's a modern day Willie Lynch slavery thing or whatever it is that's happening, and the way this thing was being built up, how do we go from that and pivot to now nobody's talking about it? It's literally not as a non-story now. Were they all bosom buddies now? Everybody's cool now? Everything's okay now? Well, the bigger question is, how do you switch off that quickly? I'm talking to you. How do you invest so much energy into stories like this? And then just like that, when everybody else stops talking about it, you stop talking about it. Meanwhile, you've poured in so much of your energy and your time and your emotion into things like this. And what did you actually personally get in return for it? What did you get in return for it? We fall for this stuff all the time, family. It's stories like this it's just really something. And what I'm saying is, and so if someone says, well, Dwayne, are you saying that none of this true and there's no truth to that? No, I'm not saying that at all. I believe there is some truth to this. I believe there's probably is some truth somewhere in the midst of that. I'm sure there's some truth to it. But all of this right here, you cannot tell me that all of that hellfire was happening and then literally just like that, everything stops. Ain't no updates to anything. Nobody knows publicly. There's no talk about, the website. You showing testimonies of people that are being helped by this organization. There's nothing, literally nothing. Nothing. We don't hear anything. And you have invested all of this time. We had people come in here. They were so hot. They were so angry for simply doing what I'm doing right now. And that's simply revisiting and asking more questions. Because a lot of our people don't want to do that. We don't want to ask questions. we've been trained to be driven by our emotions, and you pour so much of yourself into this stuff and you have nothing else to give to anybody else but frustration. So that's that story. This one was not as big as this story here, but it was pretty big. Do you remember the story regarding the woman who basically shut down her date because he wanted to take her to the cheesecake factory, and she turned up her nose and basically was saying all this stuff on her live saying, I ain't doing none of that stuff. I ain't going no cheesecake factory. I ain't doing none of that. You know, how a man gonna do all this stuff? And what was the reaction to all of that? You had all of these whatever you want to call it, vloggers that were out here that was doing video after 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 video, saying this is the prime example. This one woman is a prime example of all black women out there. All black women are just like this one woman here. All black women are just like this. They're ungrateful. All black women, she is the spokesperson of all black women out here. Black men were putting this out here. And then on the other side, you had black women that were saying, well, no, we deserve better than that. And she's right and all this stuff. And it became a nuclear bomb in the social media world. See, I don't know what's going on in the water or in the air in these days, but it sure seems like a lot of people have short memories. I don't for some reason. I remember all of this stuff. It's hard for me to move from one thing to another when things like this, when there's that much emotional investment. I'm counting coins. I'm in the bag. I'm counting all the coins in those emotional bags. And it was a lot that was invested in this. Black men going into black women and black women going into the black men and all this stuff. You remember all of that, right? Well, it just so happens that thankfully we got some people out here that got some sense. And they said, you know what? There's something about that story that ain't add up to me either. Well, it comes to find out, well, I'll let the video, I'm going to play part of the video and I'm going to let the video speak for itself, okay? Let's go ahead and play part of this video.
Fake to me, but in the skit he says he was going to take her to a nicer restaurant, but she was an hour late and left him outside waiting, and so she asked him to take her to the restaurant they were going to go to originally, and he says no, and the skit ends with him saying he felt disrespected and that they were incompatible and that he was just going to drop her off at home. She tries to get him to compromise, but he doesn't budge. So that was the skit. Now let's get into some receipts that prove that this was fake, and shout out to my longtime subscriber Red Elephant 169 for sending me all of these screenshots, and I did go on Nakia's page myself to verify that she is indeed an actress, and I took some additional screenshots of my own. So this is Nakia's Facebook page. As you can see, she is the woman in the skit. In her bio it says she's a therapist, an author, and an actress. Here are some screenshots of her posting about a recent audition and a role that she landed. So I'm guessing that the people who knew about the skit going viral reached out to her to offer her more work. Here is another screenshot of her smirking and joking about heading to get cheesecake, and this was posted when the skit started to go viral. Here she is in the comments admitting that she was the woman in the skit. One of her commenters says, so it was a skit. Why did you have us talking bad about you like that? And she says, it's okay. No one in this group has the power to offend me, nor should I have the power to offend any of you. We don't know each other. And yes, it's a skit. I'm a therapist, podcaster, writer, and actress, LOL. Now, some people may say, oh, well, she's saying it's a skit now to save face. And I definitely don't think that's the case, because these skits are becoming a very popular way for influencers and aspiring entertainers to get clout. So I definitely believe that this is a skit. To see my exclusive content, visit Chrissy VIP at Chrissy.
I jumped like that because I didn't know the music. Okay, so hold on. You gotta be careful. Okay, hold on. Let me get to skip here a little bit here. Oh, of course. That's what was coming up. Here we go.
few Facebook groups that Nakia is a part of. One is a femininity and luxury group for Black women on Facebook. My subscriber who sent me the screenshots is a member, and that's how she was able to see this information. And so in this one, Nakia says, it's a skit. Every video was filmed on the same day. There's a whole behind the scenes being put together as well. It will be revealed further, but you all do realize that the more this is shared, the more money it makes. People don't use critical thinking skills. Social media is a powerful tool in so many ways. And in this other screenshot, she mentions more about her plans to discuss the skit on her podcast and the reactions.
So let me read what she said. This is the main woman here. This is the main woman that, that was saying she turning down, basically shading her date for offering to take her to the Cheesecake Factory. Let me read what she said. It's a skit. Every video was filmed on the same day. There's a whole BTS being put together as well. It will be revealed further, but you all do realize the more this is shared, the more money it makes. These people are telling you right in your face. People don't use critical thinking skills. Social media is a powerful tool in so many ways. This Black woman, in this case, is telling you, Negroes, y'all don't think anyway, and you don't read. So yeah, it's a skit and I'm getting paid. She's telling you that.
So she is absolutely doing this for money and clout, and she's taking advantage of the fact that people don't have critical thinking skills, and she's using it to grow her online presence and her brand. This is clearly someone who is desperate for social media popularity and getting work as an actress, so she is going to try to get it by any means necessary, even if that means embarrassing herself and intentionally damaging the image of Black women. And so this is a response to a member in the luxury group. She says, even if it is a skit, the entitled behavior has started to peak. There is a difference between your communicated standards versus your non-communicated expectations of someone else. Please don't intertwine luxury/femininity with belittling, disgraceful, and rude behavior. She lacked accountability and demonstrated morals/behaviors that are unfortunately aligned with the narrative of Black women. So Nakia responds and she says, yes, and this behavior I see in these luxury groups. It's a conversation among others that I believe needs to be had. You are absolutely correct. None of this demonstrates luxury or femininity. It needs to be called out, but it's so exhausting. So I thought, let me hold a mirror to folks and see how ridiculous this mindset can look. And when it comes to this skit, I saw this a lot. I saw a lot of people saying, oh, well, even if it is a skit, women are becoming too entitled and this is happening in real life, so we need to have this conversation. And like my subscriber Red Elephant said in our email exchange, if so many Black women are actually doing this in real life, why does a skit need to be made? Mm-hmm. Where is the real footage? We actually saw...
I'll just stop it there. She goes into quite a bit there. The video itself, this is from the YouTube channel Chrissy. I'm not familiar with her at all, but I'm just giving her credit. This is her work. This is her stuff here. And then she has a part 2 to this video that's in the description. It says proof that the Cheesecake Factory, something or other here. I don't know. You can, it's a part 2 to this video. And then you can, hold on. Let me see if I click on more. Yeah, it just cuts off there. But so here you have this woman here. In this particular case, this is a Black woman who's acknowledging to other people, Black folks, and saying, yeah, we made it up. And we did it because y'all don't read, you don't use critical thinking skills, and I get paid for it. So what? I shared with my wife earlier, I said, see, this underscores even more what I said. I don't want to hear a doggone thing from another Black person about what white people ain't doing for us or what they're not doing. I don't hear anything. I don't hear anything at all. I don't want to hear about any more Karens. I don't want to hear about white people ain't doing this. I don't hear about white people ain't doing that. Am I denying racism coming from them? No, I'm not. I'm not at all. But we as a people, we are not prepared to deal with that at all until we're until we're willing to deal with this stuff right here. They don't need it. White people don't need to do anything now. They just sit back and watch the machine self-destruct on its own. And there are many stories just like this that have been out. They're all drama pieces. And we a lot of our people will latch onto these things as if it's true. And the story just takes up a life on its own. And then after that, then it'll just so happen to be like a movie that comes out that matches that, or a product or an album, or, you know, something that comes out. They've been doing this type of marketing for years. It would be referred to as, I think the closest you can refer to it would be something like guerrilla marketing. And that just means aggressive, very aggressive marketing. And an example of that would be like if there's a movie that's coming out, there's several books that I can point you to where people who were really good at guerrilla marketing, they talk about this, where if there's a movie coming out, they will cause some local thing. They'll go around into the city, let's say, for example, and put these Post-it notes or something on the windows of cars or whatever. And it will say, he's coming to get you or whatever. And people get all scared and they, who are you talking about? He's coming to get you or whatever. I'm just making something up. Right. And then later on, there's a movie that will come out. There'll be a board that will say, he's coming to get you, coming soon to a theater near you. Right. Well, you know, this goes all the way back to the days of Orson Welles. Orson Welles, you know, he did the whole thing about, oh my God, the aliens, they're coming to Newark. You know, we're being invaded right now. Oh my God, the aliens, here they come. Here they come. And people lost their ever living minds. They got scared. The cops were their phones, people were blowing up their phones because they were like, oh my gosh, I'm listening to Orson Welles and he's saying that we're being invaded. Well, it just so happened it was like some kind of movie or something that was coming out and it helped support that. Well, nothing has changed in all of these years. Now you got black folks that do it to ourselves. We do it to ourselves. So you got a lot of things that are passing through the portals of social media as if it's truth and being presented as truth, but in reality is not at all. And the goal is to defund you of all your emotion. Emotion is not a bad thing. It is something that your creator gave to you. It is not a bad thing. It is not a bad thing to use your emotions, to be someone that expresses themselves. We're all emotional. If you're a human, you got emotions. Okay, that comes with the package. There's nothing wrong with being emotional. It does become problematic when you allow your emotions to lead you and they overshadow critical thinking. You understand what I'm saying? That's where it becomes problematic. And that is where we are today. We have a lot of our people who allow their emotions to overshadow critical thinking. And these people that look like you, look like me, they know that, like, and I just showed you in this case here, they know that and they take advantage of you. Like I said, the number one enemy that we are dealing with right now as a people, it ain't white people, it ain't Jewish people, it's black folks. And I'll keep on saying that over and over and over again. I'm not looking for a collective of black folks. I don't look at that anymore. You know, when I do these videos or broadcasts or whatever, I'm kind of speaking to whomever will listen. But I don't have these visions of grandeur of that one day we all as black folks, we all gonna come together and we all gonna walk together and we all gonna build something. I don't have that. Maybe you do. I don't. It ain't happening. Because I'm going to tell you the truth, and it's hard truth, but it's truth nonetheless. There's a numbers of our black folks that are going to have to be put down 6 feet, maybe 16 feet under. Let's keep it a full buck. Because there's a lot of people, there's no way in heaven or hell or in between you are going to be able to build anything or to advance anywhere. You're not going to be able to do it. You're just not. It's just what it is. And we have way too many people out here that allow themselves to be led by your emotions, and then the powers that shouldn't be, all they got to do is snap their fingers and then you go to sleep on all the details, just like we talked about tonight with this whole Colorado thing. They literally just stopped the story and then people just went to sleep on it and just say, okay, what can we invest our emotions in right now? It's the same thing like with the what was it? The Sean Combs situation. Same thing. Sean Combs situation where his former girlfriend basically comes out and drops all this info about the sickening and disgusting things that this man, the way he is behind closed doors. And, you know, she said, you know, basically we're going to go to court. And then 2 days later, she's getting a bag, right? And, you know, first she said, well, I'm doing this not just for me, but for all the people out there that don't have a voice. Soon as she got that bag, she was like, well, I got my voice. I don't know about y'all niggas, you know, and you know, basically I'm going to keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? And what happened, what has happened ever since? This is the thing that really pisses me off. And this is what I want you to understand this as a people, is that, again, you have to question anybody and everybody that comes your pathway. I don't care what they look like. I don't care if they're black. I don't care if they're white. I don't care if they're Asian. I don't care if they claim they're Hebrew. I don't care if they claim they're Christian. I don't care. You got to question everybody. Do you hear what I'm saying? Social media is 100% fake. It is, because there's no way in the world that you got 1,000 friends. There's no way in the world. You ain't got no 1,000 friends. And if you do, you crazy. What person in their right mind would allow 1,000 people to tell them what to do? You would be insane to allow that to happen. But in this imaginative world, we tell ourselves this, I got 10,000 friends. Yeah, you crazy. Lock them up. Put a white coat on that person and lock them up. You got 10,000 friends. Okay, yeah. Go on ahead. But what I'm saying is this. You got to question everybody. You got to question everybody, including me. You got to question everybody that comes your way, because I'm telling you, these examples that I just shared with you this evening, these weren't white people. These are black folks that do this stuff all the time. And they don't give two craps. I had to watch myself there for a second. They don't give two craps about you, your emotions, because see, what is tied to your emotions? Your health. There are people, when they get plugged into these stories that pop up, they plug into these stories, their blood pressure going up, they dealing with diabetes that go up, all of a sudden they waking up with headaches and stuff like that. These folks don't care about you. That's what I'm trying to tell you. And some of y'all are living in this imaginative world and talking about thinking that we all black folks, we all gonna come together. Knock it off. Getting back to what I was saying about Sean Combs' situation. Now, all of a sudden, these Negroes are coming out of the woodwork talking about, yeah, you know, because I saw when he was banging up on and doing something with these black women. And I saw when he was doing that. Nigga, you ain't say jack when that stuff was going down. Now, all of a sudden, there's a potential for you to make money off of it. So now you want to open your mouth. You got women that were literally in these back rooms and stuff. All kinds of horrific things are going on. All kinds of stuff are going on. Things I wouldn't be able to share on this platform. That's how bad it is. And you got folks, black folks. I don't care if you identify yourself as an Indian or a Native American or a Hebrew. It don't matter. You got niggas basically that will witness that stuff and will watch it through and through and won't say a doggone thing about it until they can get paid off of it. Now, all of a sudden, they want to sing like the Jackson 5 and tell everybody everything. That's what I started off with the story with the Carlton Pearson thing. Don't come up to me with that nonsense. Well, you know, he taught me the word and he taught me how to do this and he taught me all this stuff. When the man was living, y'all, you got on the first thing smoking. All these Negroes, I threw him under the bus. Now all of a sudden, they done preached them beyond heaven. And what I'm saying to you, family, is this. As a people, we will never move ahead if we don't stop being honest. If we don't start being honest with one another. If we don't start demanding truth. Do you understand what I'm saying? We got to be a people that demands truth, starting with us. I'm not demanding truth from white folks now, okay? That will come. because I already know what to expect with that. Do you understand what I'm saying? But this whole mindset where we kind of relax when it's our own people. No. There should be more people asking about what actually went down in Colorado with these ranchers. What's going on now? But ain't nobody asking. Why? Because the switch was turned on and people keep moving on. Well, child, where can I invest my emotions in now? And that's why some of y'all are in a wreck when it comes to your emotions. You can't handle nothing. Some of the stuff we're talking about now, when we start engaging and looking in and asking questions about the Bible, these questions, this ain't for you, because you can't handle it. Because you have invested all your emotions in this one thing, so you can't think of anything else. As soon as someone raises a question about it, you lose it. This is why you see me doing these videos now. I'm walking through the desert. I'm saying, y'all, I'm just getting my sleep outside. Talking about the importance of being quiet. Why you think now hopefully that makes it more sense. Maybe that adds more clarity to why we do what we do here on this platform. Because see, we understand the connection between your emotions and your health. And if your emotions, or if you just invest in your emotions and all this foolishness and craziness by other black folks, you are going to put yourself in a very early grave. There's people right now you need to say, peace, deuces, get out of my face. You need to separate yourself right now, not later. I'm actually was in the middle of counseling someone not very recently. I said, listen, I said, you putting this off too long. You putting this off way too long. You're going to need to make a decision. You're going to need to make a choice. You're going to have to do that. And then and it was like, well, I've been praying. Man, listen, how long are you going to keep praying? How much longer are you going to do that? The answer's staring in your face. You were just afraid to make a decision. Because there's something in you, and that's for some of our folks, you're addicted to drama. That's why we did that video recently talking about our addiction to drama and stuff like that. Some of our people just absolutely love it. I got a video clip right now of two individuals. If I mention them right now, all of y'all know who I'm talking about, but I ain't going to do that tonight. Literally got on video, was like, it's quiet out here. Ain't nobody doing nothing. Like they just itching for the next thing to come up. I said, man, people just, I don't know. They just be fake. You just put everything on video. I don't understand that. I mean, y'all be telling on yourselves. You don't think nobody sees this stuff? It's too quiet amongst black folks. That's exactly what we need right now. So this is why, again, like I said, I'm wrapping it up. I'm done. We do these kind of videos, family, because we love you. Even though you may not see my wife here, but trust me, we're together on this. But she's around. We love our people way too much not to tell you the truth. And truth is becoming a very lonely soldier out here in this day and time. And if we are not willing to be honest with ourselves, then who in the world is going to do it? We're it. You need to understand this. This is the last generation, I believe, of honest and truthful truth tellers. I believe that. Every day I wake up, I think about that. If I don't do it for the people I'm with, who's going to do it? So you may watch a video here, you may skim through, you may be one of the people that come to our channel and say, I just, you just take too long to get to the point and all this stuff. Yeah, maybe I do. Maybe I do. But one thing you cannot say is I've never been truthful to you to the best of my ability. You can never accuse me of that. So whether or not it comes in long form or short form, when you listen to what we try to present here on this platform, to the best of our ability, we're trying to give you the truth in its rawest form, in love. But nonetheless, we're doing that. And this particular lesson here, when it comes to guarding your emotions, is one of the most critical lessons that we need to learn, because when you do that, what happens is you become more discerning. One more thing, and I'll just say this and I'm done. Do you know why? Many of you may have heard of, when you think of the statues, when you hear the story about statues in Egypt, where they knocked the nose off of the statues. And what has been told over and over again, at least amongst our people, is that the reason why they did that is because they're trying to hide the identity of these statues, meaning that, they're trying, what's being said is that these statues had wide noses. And the reason why these noses were taken off was because of the fact that people like Napoleon did not want the world to know that these were actually black people. Well, I can actually, it's on my phone, and maybe I'll do another video on this. I can show you a whole lot of statues in Europe where the noses were also broken off. Now, the reason behind that is because, so it wasn't just Egypt. This is all over. This is, where the Europeans were, and of course in Egypt as well. Now, the reason that this was being done is because there was a belief system back then amongst many people that a lot of times when they would build these statues, they actually believed that the soul of whatever it was that they were of this individual resided in that statue. And so what they would do is, so they believed that when you knock the nose off of the statue, you're actually getting rid of their ability to live. So if that statue was ever to reanimate or animate itself or whatever, it wouldn't be able to survive, nor would it be able to be discerning of whatever it is that's going on. So that's why, not just in Egypt, but also throughout Europe, you'll find many cases where they would knock off, appendages, particularly like the nose, sometimes the ears or whatever, because they wanted to handicap these things. Now, in Egypt, was there also some low-key race things in there? Maybe there was some reason, maybe it had something to do with the wide noses or whatever. But you also see this throughout Europe as well, which, again, it adds a little more validity to, the bigger reason why this was being done. But my point in bringing this up is that discernment is key. It's something that you are going to need to have in this day and time right now. And the way your discernment is going to be sharpened is by you surrounding yourself in an environment that's peaceful. When you come across there's stuff I come across on my timeline, family, I'm like, there's no way in the world I would show this to the people, even though it's something we probably should see or no. You don't need to see that, because what it does, it's too troubling. That's why, like I said, there was a lot I could have showed on the footage of that couple tonight. I'm not going to replay all of that. If you want to see it, it's on the video. You watch it yourself on your own time. But I'm not going to end my week with all of that drama. And that's how you should conduct yourself as well. So when you come across these stories on social media and all that, be sure to not just go with the crowd, but ask questions, investigate, even if it is our people. This is not in no denial. I'm not in any denial that, racism doesn't happen or it doesn't exist. Nobody's saying that at all. It does exist. It does happen. But that is not our greatest adversary right now. Our greatest adversary right now is niggas. Okay. Right now. Okay. So you're going to need to change that a little bit and now refocus and realize who you really dealing with right now. It is. All right. So I hope you got something out of this broadcast tonight. And I guess we're now doing one long broadcast a week. So I guess that's probably pretty good. So that's it. I might do a short one on BondTube tomorrow, maybe Monday, not sure. A very short one. So I'll post something on the community page and you can, watch it or don't. Okay, so I'll let you know. But yeah, that's kind of how we're going to do things. Next week, I believe Nicole and I, we're going to be in the kitchen. So that's going to be pretty exciting. And we're going to be showcasing different things we sell over on sombertree.com. If you have any questions in regards to maybe anything I may have talked about tonight, you can always email me at connect@journeymanandwoman.com. You can always email me, okay? Don't just be sitting in the shadows or whatever. I'm here. I ain't hiding. I'm here, okay? If you have any questions in regards to Somber Tree, remember I said earlier, like, not like, where's my order at? I already answered. If, orders are going out, they've been going out, but if you are looking for your, your tracking number, check your emails tomorrow. For those that are still waiting, you'll get that info and all that stuff. Okay. So just check your emails on that. But if you're like, man, what would be a good thing I can take for this or that or whatever. And, many people already notice that we'll do the best we can to get you the right information, and what we don't know, we will get you to, to the sources that do know. Okay. We don't claim to know everything, but we can be quite resourceful, and we're more than willing to share that with you. Okay. Because we want to see our people well. And I know you want to see yourself well too. All right, family, that's it. Thank you so much to each and every one of you guys. I may not call you guys all out, but I really appreciate all of you guys. Wanea, of course. I want to say Ayala. Am I saying your name? Am I saying your name right, honey? Hamilton. I hope I'm saying your name right. But I appreciate you. Jennifer Young. We got Moonglow in the house. Darlene, of course. Jennifer Young. We got, let's see. Overflow Enterprises. We got, there's other people that's sitting back. I know you're there. It's all right. And if I didn't call your name out, it don't mean I hate you. Vivian, Calculated Crescendo. I know who you are. That Afro's a dead giveaway. Love you guys very much. You guys take care, and we'll see you next time. Take care.